Let's now uncomment section 6 and see what to be developed. So now select a section and then Control / to uncomment that. Okay, everything compiles. You can see that we got this entry here calling the second version of the constructor toString method has been defined properly in the previous section, but now you can see that we're calling the equals method. So which equals method are we referring to? You can see that E1 was declared of type, let's just go a little bit back, E1 was declared over here entry. So that means this equals method here refers to the equals method in entry, not in birthday. We did define the equals method in the birthday class, but now we're calling a different equals method, different version I should say. So now the equals method here, as we know, we have not overridden the equals method in the entry class. That means when we call the equals method, it's going to simply call the default version that is inherited from the object class, which will only compare the references between the context and argument objects, which means E1 and E2, they are different entry objects, meaning that their addresses are different. So E1.equals E2 will be simply false. And you can see E1 and E2 over here. Let's see what E1, E2, and E3 are. Okay, just go a little bit back. You can see that E1 over here is A, B, D, O1. And then E2 over here is B, and then 2, 12. And then over here, E3 is this. You can see somehow we got 3 entry objects that we like to compare. Somehow you can just check the definition of BDO1. Okay, let's just check that very quickly. BDO1 is simply 1 and then 11. Okay, so now let's just go back. If you look at E1 over here, E1 is basically A was born on January 11th, which should be considered as equal as E3, which is A was born on January 11th. And notice one thing, E1 and E3, they were created using different versions of the constructor. You can see for E1, it uses version 1, which takes name and birthday. And for E3, it was created using version 2, which takes the name, month, and day. However, which version we use doesn't really matter. For both versions, they both actually store the name and the birthday into internally the name and birthday attributes in the entry class. So both versions do the proper job. So it shouldn't really matter when you try to print it out or try to compare equality. Okay, so now what we really expect to see is E1 and E2 over here, E1 over here, and E2 over here. First of all, they have different names, so there's no way they can be equal. So this one should be false. On the other hand, E1.equals E3 over here, that's A and then January 11th. And this one is A, January 11th. That should be true. That's why when you see the PDF over there, it's going to be false and true. That's what we expect to see. And since things compile, why don't we try? If you try that, you will see false and false, which means this one we expect it to be true, but it returns false. And the reason is simple. It's because it's now calling the default version of the equals method from the object class. So what we can do is we can override it. So let's go to the entry class, and now let's override the equals method, just like how we overrode the equals method in the birthday class. Okay, so now the way we do it is, again, is very standard. Let's do it. Let's say equals over here, type that. So now we're going to override it. So we're going to say if this equals obj, so that means we compare exactly the same objects. So that'll be true, trivially. And also we can say if obj equals null, or this dot get class not equal to obj dot get class. In this case, we're going to return false. Either because the other objects that we're comparing is null, or when they are of different types, then we can return false. And now we can do a cast to make sure we can compare the month and day. So now we can say the following. So now we can say this, we can say entry over here, other new entry. Sorry about that, we should do a cast. Entry obj, And now, let me show you two different ways of doing this. Either you can say return entry has two attributes, this dot name, and if you simply say dot equals obj dot not obj, other dot name. Okay, just compare the two names. And also we want to compare the birthday, and birthday has month and day. So one way to do it is you can say the following. You can say this dot birthday dot get month equal this dot birthday, so that'll be other dot birthday dot get month. Okay, I'll separate them out into different lines so that's easier for you to see. Okay, and then also we can say and this dot birthday dot get day equals other dot birthday dot get day. Okay, this will work, which means two entries are considered as equal if their names are equal, their month of the birthday are equal, and their days of the birthday are equal. However, even though this works, I can claim that your code smells if you do it like that, simply because you are trying to actually duplicate the code. Why? If you look at the equals method for the birthday class that we developed previously, you can see over here we are really comparing this dot. You can see especially this part here, this dot month equals other dot get month, this dot get day equals other dot get day. So this part has been duplicated in over here. So now we can certainly reuse it. How do we reuse it? So what we can do is I will just comment this out, copy and comment that out, okay, for you. So now let's see how we can do a slightly better version. Okay, so now Control A, Control I. Okay, just make sure I got an indentation properly. Okay, so now let's see how we can do that. I'm gonna replace this line over here to say, now I'm gonna say this dot birthday, and it already got its equals method overridden in the proper way. I can say other. Okay, this one works better. Okay, other dot, you can see Eclipse is actually quite smart. If you say simply this dot birthday dot equals other, you can see this comparison, although it compiles, but Eclipse warns you about it. Let's see why. Let's really try not to ignore the warning. He says that a likely argument type for the equals entry seems to be unrelated to birthday. You see, Eclipse is very smart, and this is something you should really understand why. I'm trying to say this dot birthday, and it is of type birthday over here. But I'm trying to compare a birthday with other. What's other? Other is an entry. I'm comparing a birthday like October 11th with an entry like A was born on October 11th, right? So now I'm not really comparing two things that are actually the same. They're really in the same category. So what I should have said would be other dot get birthday. Okay, that's something I should do. Okay, so now equals method has been defined. So now let's go back to the tester and run it before we go to JUnit test. So now it will be false and true. So this is really what we expected. So now this works. Let's now do the Eclipse very quickly. Let me copy this part here, and then let me go back to the test, and let's create a test number 6. Add test public void test 06 over here, and now let's paste that over there. And now we got E1 and E2. Okay, let's just copy that from the before. Since we have created objects consistently throughout the example. Let's find out where E1 and E2 is. E1 is over here. Okay, let me just copy that. Hopefully that's even more obvious when you can compare the two different versions of constructor for entry. Okay, we also got BD01. Okay, let's find out BD01, which is here. Okay, BD01 is here. You can see E1 is created using the first version of the entry method, which takes name and birthday. E2 and E3, they are created using the second version of the constructor, which takes name, month, and day. However, the effect should be the same. They should really properly set the two attributes in the entry class. Okay. So now let's try to do that. So now I'm going to convert from print line into assertion. Assert equals. So now E1 should be over here. I should say E1 is A was born on January 11th. Okay, put a comma there. Okay, let me just copy that. Okay, assert equals, and over here we should say assert false. Okay, and this one should be assert true. Okay, let's change them quickly. Okay, again, it's only the first time when you create a JUnit test that requires some typing. But once you have typed out the test cases, you don't have to touch them anymore. Every time you want to retest the cases, click the button and then it will be run automatically. So let's really do it only once and for all. Assert equals, you can say E2 over here should be B was born on February 12th. And then E2.toString. And then over here, E3.toString, you can see E3 should be January 11th, right? So over here, we can say over here, A was born on January 11th. Okay, that's E3.toString. Okay, and then now because E1 and E2, you can see E1 and E2, they are simply their names are different. Of course, if you call E1 that equals E2, they cannot be the same. Okay, they cannot be equal. On the other hand, E1 and E3 over here, you see E1 is A and then January 11th, and E3 is A January 11th. So they should be equal. I'm going to assert true when I call that. Okay, let's run the test case to make sure everything works. Okay, it works. So far we have accumulated 7 test cases.